Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy Razor from RazorTube coming at you with some basic survival skills for the beginner player. Now you're probably asking yourself, what is this pertaining to? And this is to DayZ survival skills, and it'll be in each map. So it'll be in Livonia and Chernarus. This applies to both maps, and I'm going to teach you some of the methods on how to get food, where to get it, how to cook it, and there's a bunch of different devices that we can use to do that, and also how to grow it. So let's go into it, okay? What's up, Jade? Alright, so basically, you want to survive in Livonia, right? There's a ton of things we could do in Livonia to survive and get food. We can hunt, we can fish, we can gather, right? Just like real life. So, I'm going to show you some methods on how we can basically cook some food after we get it and whatnot, and gather and whatever, you know. Anyways. Alright, so let's go with the first method here. So, obviously in the map in Chernarus or Livonia you can find things just like campfire, tripod. You can use a regular campfire to cook meat on a stick with. Here, let me just set it up for you so you can see. Alright, so our first method, basically, say you go shoot a cow and you skin them, you get the fat and the meat from it. The first method that you would use, if you have nothing else around you, would be a long stick from a bush and then a piece of fat or a steak. What you would do is you'd come up to your campfire, you'd hit F, or depending on if you're on console, you'd basically end up sitting down next to your fire and cooking the food. Now this method is the longest to cook the food, and you can only cook one piece of meat at a time. So that you gotta remember when you're in a big group, and you don't want to be cooking like one piece of meat at a time. So obviously to start the campfire, what you're gonna be doing is you need to start it with some logs, and then you gotta get a piece of bark from a tree and a short stick, right? So what you do, go up to a tree, cut off a piece of bark, like so. Once the circle's done, you get that piece of bark, and then you would go up to a bush, right? And then you'd get your short stick. Now while you're doing this, obviously you want to be making sure you're getting all the proper supplies, or you have all the proper supplies to cook the meat, and have the meat with you. So here's your short stick. What you'd do is you'd have your bark in your inventory, or your hotbar rather, and you're going to be looking at the short stick, and it's going to say take next recipe or craft a fireplace. So you want to click next recipe, and what we're looking for is the hand drill kit, right? So we're going to basically combine the short stick and the bark together in order to do this. Alright, so what you should be looking at after this is our little hand kit here, hand drill kit. So you want to take that into your hand and come over to said logs and then set it ablaze. Alright, then that's when you would basically cook your meat on the stick over the fire. Now, there are different methods of cooking. There's not just a meat on a stick, right? So what you would be doing while you're scavenging through the DayZ world here is, now you can also use a cooking pot, right? So this cooking pot right here, we're going to take into our hand. What you would do is you'd find the nearest water source, which is down here. I think it's already full though. It is. And then you would go to your campfire after you find your campfire tripod, right? And you can find them in like local sheds, garages and whatnot. And you would set up your tripod by applying it to the cooking equipment bar inside the campfire, and then you'd put your water-filled cooking pot with a piece of meat in there and attach it to the tripod. Now the cool thing about this is you can boil more than one piece of meat at a time, okay? So when you have this cooking, you can cook for a squad, or just, obviously you can cook in bulk for yourself as you're trying to survive in Livonia. Now the cool thing about this is while you're cooking this, you can have your squad have, server squad, a nice little DayZ meal. And what you would do is after it's done cooking, I've actually never cooked vegetables before.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, you can cook,
You do it on the gas, huh?
nice. You can cook
Cool.
some vegetables and meat inside of the cooking pot on the tripod. Now, obviously, this is more of a primitive way to do things, okay? There is a more modern way or Western way to do these things. Now, here over. Don't mind that dead zombie. Here we have a couple pieces of equipment that you might find useful while you're going through DayZ, right? So, you got your little gas cylinder here, your gas can. You take that, right, in your hand. And you find these anywhere. Oh man, gotta turn this back on. And then you have a gas stove top, right? So, what you would do is just kind of go in the vicinity. You could do vicinity check. You could take that gas stove top and then you could combine it with your gas canister, right? Or vice versa. Because there'll be a gas stove, so you just create it, and what it makes is this nifty little device that you'll be using to boil your meat. Now, here's our nice cooking pot. Now, what we have in here is we got water that you would go down to a river or whatever, or pond to get. And then what you would do is you go to the gas stove you'd made, and just like the tripod, you'd connect it to the gas stove slot right here, and boom. Then you want to turn it on, obviously. So
Yeah.
So the good thing is, here you go. This is another source or a way to cook your food in Livonia. Now, obviously, the pieces to the gas stove are a little bit hard to find, but once you find them, you kind of just have it. Now, do pay attention to the food. Once it's done, your gas canister can run out of fuel, and you cannot refuel it. You have to find a whole nother one while you're scavenging through DayZ. Now, a good notable item to go over too is what else can we do for food in Livonia? While that's cooking, we'll go over here. We have crop plots. We can actually make crop plots in DayZ. Now, in order to make these items, you basically have to go to your local greenhouses, go inside them, and usually there'll be like packets of seeds like zucchini, tomato, different kinds of vegetables. You take a shovel and basically go up to the land, and it gives you a white highlighted area stating that you can actually make a crop plot there, and you just go ahead and dig it up, and then you'll have 9 slots. So you rip open the pack of seeds, you obviously go ahead and place them in each little plot, and eventually your little precious plants that you're going to eat grow. So obviously it takes a little bit of time for them to ripen. So you'll see in here, for example, these ones aren't quite done yet. So it's kind of interesting. It's just like real life. You just want to apply, you know, let it get watered by the environment or yourself with a crock pot or whatever you got in your hand. And then once they're watered enough and they've had a lot of time to grow, you can obviously pick them when they're ripened and eat them. So you could either eat those raw or cooked. Where'd that gas stove go? Oh, here we go. They put it there. Now, when you're done cooking in your little gas stove, if you can tell right here, it just says, obviously each piece of food has a certain amount of life to it. You can tell right here at the bottom. We've only cooked off a little bit of it, so we can still eat this. And also the tomatoes, they're boiled, which is nice. You can take all these and put them in your inventory, or give them to your squad and supply them. Obviously you're not going to have some of this equipment around you. It's hit or miss depending on what you find first. These are some good ways to start finding food in order to survive in Livonia. But I also have one more way that we can get food. And if you haven't guessed yet, it's fishing. So, for fishing, what you need is you can either make your own rod or find a fishing rod in, one of the maps by looting. Here, let me try to get this into the old inventory. Just, we're gonna drop the old sledge. That's what we're gonna do. And we're gonna take our fishing pole, and then our bone, and I think we do have a knife.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so for this, if you want to start fishing, there's a few things you gotta do. Okay, make sure you have a sharp edge weapon on you. Obviously, you want to have some bones. So here we go. We'll put them on the ground real quick. And when you're over the bones, it'll say craft improvised hook. Okay, so what you're going to be doing is crafting a fishing hook for your fishing rod, which is nice, right? Now, do note that each fishing hook has a certain life to it, and each bone stack comes in 10, so you could potentially make 10 improvised hooks out of this one stack of bones. So, obviously when you're hunting game and you're getting your steaks and your pork chops, make sure you gather the bones, because those could be useful if you get in a jam later if you're out in the wilderness and you're trying to survive in Livonia or Chinoris, because, you're going to want to definitely have those items on you when you're out there trying to survive. Let me just eat this steak real quick. Let's see, what else here? Got the bones. We'll smash this food, we'll go down to the river, we'll get some fish, and we'll cook it up. Now, obviously, like any other animal that you hunt, you gotta cook it. So once you go fishing, and you get them and you gut them and prepare it, you can put in your gas stove or inside, cook it on a stick, I believe, over the fireplace, which is nice. So let me take this. Let me go ahead and put that there. Oh wait, we need our worm. How can I get a worm? Can I get a worm? You got a shovel for a worm, by any chance?
Sorry, edge weapon in the dirt.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh cool, nice.
I'm coughing on you.
Yeah, I know, right?
You look so funny digging in the dirt right there. You're like, you
I
got
don't
the
know.
nickels?
Yeah, I don't know why it's not letting me. Get up. Alright.
Is it ruined?
There we go. No, we're good now. Okay, so obviously you could take a shovel or an edge weapon and go into the dirt, start digging up for a worm, because you gotta attach the worm to the hook, okay? Basically, combining it. So we got our worm here, right? Then we got our improvised hook that we made from the bones, which is... Did I leave it over here? Like it... Yeah, there we go. There we go, we got our improvised hook. And then we got our worm. You combine them, boom. Right. Oh, there we go. I don't know why it wasn't letting me do that, but whatever. Alright, so we got that nice and done. Oop, there we go. And when you get the improvised hook and the worm, you put it onto your fishing rod, and then you're ready to go. So what we do is we're going to go down by the river. We're going to fish. This is just one more way you can get food inside of DayZ, besides hunting. So you just cast it. Ooh, did we get it?
Yeah, it'll stop it on you. The fish might clean you off. They're kind of slippery.
Yeah. Let me just kind of
That's
go over
right.
here. Now remember, if you don't catch a fish in the first grab, you can always go down the river and try it in another spot. There we go. Come on, let's get this. Did I just catch a pair of boots?
You might have.
Really?
You did. A pair of wellies. That's funny.
Ah. Okay.
I threw 'em back.
Alright, let's try to do this. So apparently you can pull boots out of the water while you're fishing, but this is see what if we actually catch it.
Do I shoot them when they come up?
Got a grenade with it. It's easier to get fish that way.
I'm gonna try it.
I don't know. For some reason it's not letting me catch them right now.
Check your.
Oh, that's why.
Maybe your bait's off.
Yep, the bait was off. I think those boots definitely got it. Alright, so we'll just get some more bait real quick and then we'll put it on the old hook and we'll be good to go. Now just remember when you're in DayZ, these are all methods you could use to survive. Some are easier than others, obviously, because there's more advanced ways to doing things. But, I mean, hey, what are you going to do, you know? Take what you can get. Add this. Love a Pete. Add here to this. There we go. Alright, we gotta pick this back up so we can add the bait back to it. I always do that. I always try to combine it in my inventory when you just do it right from the ground. There we go. Alright, now we should be good. Should be able to put that fishing rod back in our hand and then go fishing again. Alright,
Yes.
there we go. Do note you can get big game like bears or there we go, there's a fish. Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
You can get deer, you can get bear, you can also get what else? Goats and whatnot and hunt inside of DayZ, which is nice. And then you got your fish, which we're gonna take now. Let's drop this bad boy and then we'll prepare it. Knife out. There we go. So you gut and prepare the fish after you get it out of the water and you don't get a pair of boots. Once it's prepared, you should have 2 little slabs of meat on the ground, which is nice. You're going to go ahead and take those and put them in your pot on your gas stove or over your fireplace or on a stick. So we also, just as a reminder, have 2 community servers, or an Xbox and PlayStation community server. You can join us there by going to the DayZ chat inside our Discord. And I will catch you guys later. Thank you for stopping by. Hopefully this information was very valuable for you, especially being a beginner.